Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. It is time for the animal messages for April. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Julie Hirt. I am a certified soul level animal communicator and certified soul level intuitive coach. And as I said, it's April. Can you believe it? 2024. And it's time to hear the messages for this month from our friends, the animals. So for those of you who haven't watched one of these videos before or aren't remembering how things work, for the entire month of March, I watch for the themes. What begins to happen is throughout all the readings that take place, themes or threads begin to emerge. And I take those threads and themes and write them all out and then tune in to the universe, to the animals, if you will, the higher spirit of animals, and make sure that we're shaping this properly. And this then is what I bring to all of you. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. The animals, your animals are also really appreciative that you're here because as you know, there is a lot of work to do for humanity that humanity itself, actually has to do. And they're giving us guidance as to how to do that work, where to focus on every given month. And this month is no different. Now, I want to also say that we are between eclipses as I'm recording this. And I know a little bit about astrology, enough to be dangerous. And I'm learning from Chani Nicholas as well as from Dr. Jennifer Freed. So if anybody follows either one of those people, they're great. Also, Pam Young-Hans is another one that I follow. Those are great people for astrology if you're trying to understand how everything falls in, not just with the animals, but supported from an astrological perspective as well. And so as I'm recording this, we're between two eclipses. We had the lunar eclipse and we're going to have the solar eclipse next week. And so I'm looking at the camera and I look a little tired and I know that it's a little exhausting. So do take good care of yourself in this time, because the other thing that started today, April 1st, as I'm recording this, is Mercury's going into retrograde and will be in retrograde until the 25th of April. So just be mindful that you are resting. For me, this Mercury retrograde really is actually asking me to just take a pause, take a step back. March was really, really busy, had a lot of events, also had met a lot of new people through readings and their animals. And I'm so, so grateful. Very, very busy month. And so April, however much I can take a pause, that's actually what I'm being asked to do with this retrograde. So double check and see how it's affecting you, as well as the eclipses, and be mindful of that too. And be aware that all of that also plays into the animal messages for this month too, because the threads were already starting to be seen in March as to where we're going in April. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew about the astrology. And I'm just looking at my notes. So as all of you know, for the whole year of 2024, the animals are working with us overall on two main themes. One is becoming whole or seeking wholeness, and the other is connection to ourselves, connection to the community, everything around you, connection to each other, connection to your animals, and connection to the divine. So know that these are the overarching themes, and then every month they're coming up with an additional way or a place to dive a little deeper. And that's what April is. It's a little bit more of a dive deep. And here's where it's in structures. In April, the animals are asking us to work with them to allow structures that we have around ourselves to fall. Now, these can be the larger structures in place that we are already looking at and trying to find ways to change them, break them up. And these are things like systemic racism. These are things like patriarchy. These are things that are, as we can see, are being brought to the surface so that we can really examine them. The animal message, though, is also for ourselves. Things have to start here in order for the broader picture to change. So one way that they're really asking us to take a look at where those structures are is, and I know that this one is really true for me, is where do you have negative limiting beliefs that have been in place for a long time, for me, decades, and I've been working on them for quite some time. And is it time that I can let them fall, one of them fall? Can I get at least a little bit of that scaffolding down How can I let those structures that are around me fall? Things that no longer serve me, systems that I have in place, ways that I go about working in this world. What can I do to let some systems fall? And I would recommend too that some of those places to find clues are where you feel like you're trying to meet someone else's or something else's expectations on yourself. It's something you don't want to do. So now it's time to say, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. So again, letting the structures fall. There's a couple ways that the animals really want to help you kind of hone in on that and practice even just being mindful of it as these structures fall, because this creates some dissonance. This can create some resistance. This can create some grief and some sorrow. So being able to be in your body and being able to feel where those live, what emotion that is that you're feeling, that is how the animals can really help you. Because many times, I know Lucas will do this for me, my dog Lucas. He will alert me when, I'm not really taking care of myself. He will do different things behavior wise that'll make me go, oh, wait, what's going on? Oh, I see. Make you think, make you take stock of what's happening. They also are really wanting us to ground. And we keep coming back to this time and time again. Our society is not necessarily a grounded one, right? We are not taught, and we're not taught grounding as really well. And it's not an honored practice, right? Like it's becoming more and more known, but that we need to ground ourselves when we wake up, that we need to ground ourselves throughout different parts of the day, after you've had a commute, after you've had a meeting that didn't quite go the way you wanted, after you've had a meeting that went great. You want to really be mindful of how grounded you are, because as those systems around you that you have in place begin to fall, you may feel a little wonky. And don't forget, like I said in the beginning, we've got the eclipses going on and Mercury retrograde. So you already have some forces of wind, like I feel like gale force wind coming at you, that may have you feeling a little less grounded going into this. And then in addition, we're looking at letting systems fall. So ground more than you think you do. You need to. And just my favorite way to ground is to just sit and have my feet on any floor. Doesn't have to actually be on the ground, doesn't have to be on the first floor, and just close your eyes, take at least 3 good belly breaths, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Try to breathe out, try to exhale a little longer than you inhale, and picturing those roots going into the ground from the soles of your feet. And spend a little bit of time. And actually, the more you do it to some degree, sometimes the faster you can do it. Although we're not asking for speed this month. April is not asking for speed. April is asking for a little bit of a pause, a little bit of reflection, a little bit of because we've got all this energy going on. Okay. So as the structures begin to fall, notice when and where you feel you need to ground. Notice when and where you've got emotions going on in your body and you need to acknowledge them, be aware of them. And in that awareness comes release. You don't necessarily have to work yourself really hard to release them. You can have people help you who do energetic healing and whatnot, but just enough to be aware of them. The other thing is, as you're tuning into your body, you're also feeling grounded. Check to see how full your batteries are, your own personal batteries. Really understand that our batteries can go empty faster than usual here in this month because of all the things that are going. And so really tune in. If you feel like you need to go to bed early, if you feel like you need to take a break and take a nap in your car, if you're going to work every day, if you feel like you just need to every now, maybe order out a little bit more just to give yourself some bandwidth and some time to recharge, because we need you. We've got a lot of work to do. We need you. So to be grounded and to double check in your body where things are, and also to just double check those batteries. And when do you need to recharge them? What's the best way for you to recharge them? Sometimes for me, it's just being able to take an hour and reading a book and getting away from the computer. So just be mindful of that you need some downtime, you need some time to recharge those batteries, and also allow those boundaries around what you need come into place there too. Again, these are all practices that to some degree reset ourselves so that this structure We're aware of it. We know what part no longer serves us, and we know what part we can lay down. And lastly, above all else, trust your voice. If you have something to say, if you have a need that needs to be expressed, or if you realize I really don't need to participate in this conversation anymore because it doesn't serve me, trust it. Trust your voice, your throat chakra right here. Trust it. So again, we're coming back to this idea of, I'm just looking at one note just to make sure I got it all. Taking this look of, in an effort for us to become whole, and in an effort for us to connect with ourselves, the greater and higher good, are the community, our animals, everything around us, as well as connecting to the divine. This month in April, the animals are asking us to let go of the structures that we're holding on to that no longer serve us. And again, that can be routine, negative beliefs, things that are larger, but remember, it begins with you. So always check in with yourself and see where things are going. Take really good care of yourself because, again, eclipse season, as well as Mercury retrograde. So even though it ends on the 25th, there's still the shadow. So that goes into May. So just be mindful of that too. I do also want to remind you all, if you haven't checked this out yet, I am one of 3 co-hosts of a brand new podcast called the Animal Communication Podcast. You can find it on mindbodyspirit.fm. It is also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It is myself and my 2 colleagues, Karen Dendy Smith and Meredith Tollison. For those of you who have ever come to any of the Animal Communication Collective events, Karen is the founder of that group, and Meredith is one of the other directors, and I'm the social media director. And we were asked to do a podcast, and now here we are. So I would love it if, in addition to listening to these animal messages, as well as the animal messages movement that I'll have later this month with Carrie Kenny, please check out the Animal Communication Podcast. Again, Apple, Spotify, and mindbodyspirit.fm. I'd love to have you. We talk about a lot of different things from an animal communication perspective. And if you have a specific topic you'd like us to discuss, let me know, because we would absolutely find a way to incorporate it. So I hope, again, you take really good care here in the month of April and allow those structures to fall. And we'll see you next month right here on my channel for May.